Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, the hunt for a vaccine takes a big step here in Canada.
I think it's an exciting development.
How a potential COVID-19 vaccine developed in China could soon be tested here.
I'm Andrew Chang. Also tonight, a blunt warning about reopening.
There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak you may not be able to control.
The top U.S. infectious diseases expert breaks with the president, saying restarting the economy could cause suffering and death.
Behind the scenes with the Canadian detectives who track and contain the virus.
You can hear the shortness of breath and the inability to even talk, and they've had to respond and call 911 for that person.
That's pretty terrifying. An inside look at contact tracing.
And the backlash over Bryan Adams' COVID comments.
I think we should also review his Order of Canada.
This is The National.
In this country, COVID-19 is still killing an average of 160 people a day. Job losses so far top 3 million and counting.
By now, we all know the impact of this ordeal. But tonight, we'll talk about how it could end. Physical distancing can slow the virus. Testing and contact tracing can find it and fence it in. You're going to hear more about that tonight. But to reliably stop COVID-19, there's a global race for widespread immunity by developing a vaccine. Christine Birak shows us how right now researchers in China and Canada are jointly working on a potential vaccine already in human trials. But whether it works is just one of the questions swirling around it.
It could be Canada's first shot at getting a vaccine for COVID-19, one that could eventually end this pandemic.
I think we have to take many shots, but hopefully, finally, we will hit a home run.
Canada's National Research Council, or NRC, is the government's main research and technology arm. It's partnering with a Chinese company developing a leading vaccine contender. Both organizations worked together in 2013 to successfully produce an Ebola vaccine.
In a way, we are bringing back home a Canadian technology, and we are able to have the most advanced vaccine candidate in the world, potentially available for Canadians in short order.
CanSino Biologics has started human trials in China. Now it wants Canadian scientists to manufacture the potential vaccine at this Montreal lab and test it.
So what they're trying to figure out is whether it's safe to give it.
If Health Canada approves the clinical trial, researchers at Dalhousie University would start by injecting healthy volunteers in Nova Scotia.
What you do is to progressively increase the sample size, because you can't really tell how effective something is until you've got a large number of people and it's out in the field.
Within months, the vaccine could be given to people in hospitals right across the country.
Well, I think it's an exciting development. The devil will be in the details.
Some public health experts are questioning the transparency of this trial, asking whether Canada will have access to all the data on the safety and efficacy of this vaccine, including test results from China.
Each step of the way, there will be data sharing.
If the vaccine works, and that's a big if, healthcare workers could start getting the first shots in December or early next year. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, that vaccine you just heard about may be the furthest along, but there are others in the works in Canada and dozens more worldwide, all being put through tests and trials at an accelerated pace. Ioana Remiliotis gives us a snapshot of where we're at.
You ready?
As far as vaccine contenders go, this one at Oxford University is racing ahead, already being tested in humans. It's one of the 8 top COVID-19 vaccines already at that clinical trial phase, and more than 100 are trying to get there. Scroll down that list, half a dozen Canadian labs are racing to the finish line too. Among them, researchers in Saskatoon who are testing a vaccine on ferrets. They just got to look at the data, and they're smiling.
So very exciting indeed. They were immunized twice, and then they were infected with the virus last week. And we had a peek at the data last night, and it looks very promising.
Promising as in?
The vaccine is working.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yes. So we're very, very excited about it.
Exciting, as the global effort to develop a vaccine moves faster than it ever has in the history of science. At the University of Waterloo, researchers are developing a DNA-based vaccine that can be delivered through a nasal spray. Top of mind, the potential for any vaccine to backfire and exacerbate disease.
These are things which have to be very closely tested, and having a variety of different approaches may be the solution toward overcoming obstacles such as that.
Safety is key, so is accessibility, and why Ottawa is funding manufacturing capacity here. And regulators are starting to discuss an emergency release of any vaccine while it's in the final phases of testing, as long as it's proven to be safe. This expert says that could be as early as this fall and would go to those who need it most.
When you have a new vaccine in the pandemic, there always has to be a process for saying who gets priority, who's at most at risk, who has the greatest chance of severe disease.
Back in the UK, early results are expected in a matter of weeks, and one piece of a global vaccine puzzle will become even clearer. Joanna Brimiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
Vaccines also came up at a U.S. Senate hearing today. That's where the country's top infectious disease expert warned again about opening up the economy too quickly. As Katie Simpson tells us, he said the consequences could not only hurt people's health, but the American economy too.
The emptiness in the room, masks on nearly every face inside, and the glow of the video feed of those joining from home, all constant reminders of the crisis at hand.
It's important to emphasize that we're not out of the woods yet.
Taking questions from lawmakers, the top officials advising the White House outlined their greatest concerns, including reopening the economy too quickly.
There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control, which in fact, paradoxically, will set you back, not only leading to some suffering and death that could be avoided, but could even set you back on the road to trying to get economic recovery.
They also revealed the death toll is likely much higher than what's been recorded, while demanding resources be stockpiled ahead of a possible second wave.
If we don't, there will be problems.
The president's top testing official promised as many as 50 million tests will be available per month by September. It wasn't enough, though, to stop criticism even from Republicans.
I find our testing record nothing to celebrate.
What our country had done so far in testing is impressive, but not nearly enough.
With regard to going back
But
to
the
school,
most tense moment came when another outspoken Republican questioned why schools can't open, given that child mortality rates are close to zero.
and as much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision.
I have never made myself out to be the end all. I think we better be careful if we are not cavalier in thinking that children are completely immune to the deleterious effects.
The tone here contrasts the optimism from the president, who continues to encourage states to reopen even though many don't meet the safety guidelines put out by the White House. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
As countries around the world ease restrictions, new clusters of the coronavirus are starting to emerge, and that is prompting the fear of a second wave. In Germany, where life had been slowly returning to normal, infections have started to accelerate. South Korea closed a slew of bars and nightclubs over the weekend after more than 100 new cases emerged. And in Wuhan, China, a new cluster, a small but significant one. So as Stephen D'Souza explains, the city is once again taking extraordinary action.
For weeks, life in Wuhan was edging back towards normal. But now, almost a month after the lockdown was lifted, 6 new cases. They're centered around a housing development with 5 patients displaying no symptoms. So officials are planning swift action, an unprecedented effort to potentially test all 11 million Wuhan residents in 10 days. It's not clear how they'll do it. In South Korea, they're tracking more than 100 new cases using cell phone data, credit card statements, even security camera footage to find people who may be infected. South Korean President Moon Jae-in told the country that it can't hesitate in the face of crisis.
Resurgences were always to be expected, first of all. The virus still exists in the population, so it was always going to manifest in some way or another.
Experts say the ability to test on a massive scale, as well as find and isolate potential positives, is key to preventing a second wave.
I don't know if we have that capacity here in Canada yet. So we have to look to that as an opportunity to build the infrastructure to allow us to do that contact tracing.
Those efforts are lagging in parts of Canada and the U.S., even as states begin to reopen.
We have way over-politicized how we approach COVID, and it's impairing our ability to do what needs to be done.
But the kind of testing and tracing seen in Wuhan and South Korea requires massive amounts of personal information and public buy-in, something that may be a challenge in North America.
So what we're going to see now is the balancing act between the need to preserve civil liberties and freedoms against the need to have somewhat authoritarian controls over our movements and individual information to prevent outbreaks.
With other outbreaks popping up elsewhere in China, the situation offers a glimpse into the new normal, where a return to lockdowns is never far away. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, in this country, we've hit another benchmark in known cases of COVID-19. The total moved past 70,000 with nearly 1,200 new cases. BC is a bright spot, just 7 new cases reported, the lowest daily total in 2 months, while the biggest hotspots by far remain Quebec and Ontario. Then there's Alberta with 45 new cases. And of course, with testing still limited, the actual number of cases is probably higher. Now, without a doubt, Calgary is Alberta's biggest COVID challenge. It is home to roughly 30% of the population, but 70% of known cases. So the province has decided to offer COVID-19 tests to some people there who aren't showing symptoms at all. Carolyn Dunn takes us through the goal of the strategy and its limitations.
Carolyn Kruzik doesn't have COVID symptoms, but she's thrilled to have a chance to get tested anyway.
So I have a husband who, although he's healthy, he's about 10 years older than I am, so of course I worry about bringing it home to him.
The vet clinic receptionist is also worried about unknowingly passing on the virus to coworkers and clients.
It's not about just protecting myself, it's about doing the socially conscious thing and protecting other people.
Health authorities say they'll test 1,000 asymptomatic Calgarians every day for 1 week, so long as they work outside the home. You have to apply, and it's first come, first serve.
While we don't know how much asymptomatic spread may contribute to transmission in a population, we know it is possible.
Calgary's infection rate is by far the highest in the province. Possible factors? It's a travel hub and densely populated. And it's not far from the outbreak at the Cargill meat packing plant. Testing people with no symptoms may shed light on how it's spreading here.
Well, I'm hoping the testing is going to really give us a leg up on the contact tracing. So to understand where these outbreaks are coming from, how likely an infected person, even asymptomatic, is to be involved in spreading the disease or causing another potential hotspot.
It gives us more knowledge on how this virus is spreading. And, you know, Alberta has always been in the top ranks in the world in terms of testing.
In fact, Alberta has already tested about 800 asymptomatic people at hospitals throughout the province. None of them were positive. But it's hoped the thousands of new tests in Calgary can help answer why the number of cases here remains so stubbornly high. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
Now, other provinces are also pushing to ramp up testing and other measures to help control the virus. Quebec Premier François Legault wore a mask for the first time at his daily briefing today as he encouraged Quebecers to do the same when they go out.
The virus won't leave Quebec for a long time. We'll have to learn to live with it. A good way to greatly reduce the contagion is to wear a mask.
Legault is also urging people who live in hotspots like Montreal to get tested, even if they're asymptomatic.
We're one of the leaders in testing globally, worldwide, per capita, but we need to hit 20,000, and that's our target.
And Ontario increased its daily testing targets, even though it's regularly missing the previous target of 16,000. The announcement also comes as the Premier extended the province's emergency declaration until June 2nd. Ford plans to provide new details about reopening on Thursday.
Seniors are among the most vulnerable to the coronavirus. There hasn't been a lot of help for them economically, though, until today. Now they're getting a boost from Ottawa, but as David Cochran tells us, some are still hoping for more.
While millions of working Canadians have seen all or most of their income wiped out by COVID-19, the government says the challenge for most seniors on fixed incomes has been different. Rather than a catastrophic drop in income, it's been a steady rise in expenses.
Many are facing higher costs for food and services. Due to imposed restrictions, they are paying more in dispensing fees to get the same medication. They are paying a premium for deliveries. All the while, their life savings have taken a beating.
So $2.5 billion for one-time tax-free boosts to support programs, a $300 top-up to old age security for nearly 7 million seniors, $200 to the guaranteed income supplement, helping more than 2 million low-income seniors.
Every little bit counts when you're on a fixed income. And that's good. It does help to offset some of the rising costs that we're seeing.
Retiree Joan McDougall appreciates the bump to the OAS, but her biggest concern is the nest egg she has invested in markets hammered by the pandemic. She was hoping for tweaks to rules around retirement income.
Not only would you get a bit of a tax deferral next year, but also it would allow time for my portfolio to recover a bit, hopefully, and to heal.
We would urge the government to do more around sort of the retirement security crisis.
It's a big demand from the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, who want, at minimum, one-year changes to tax rules around RRSPs and RIFs, which so far the government hasn't done.
Obviously, if this continues for another 6 months, for another year, we will have to continue to make adjustments and extend many programs.
That's not a no, just not right now. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
From seniors now to students, universities have started to lay out plans for the fall semester, and it looks like most classes will be held online. And that presents all sorts of problems for people who were counting on a campus experience. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson shows us their frustrations.
This should be a moment for Amina Shakil to celebrate. She got into a university program of her choice. But now, without the promise of campus life, she's anything but excited.
I had planned out what residence I was going to apply for, and I was looking forward to meeting new friends.
The online option presents other problems to students already in university, like this first-year med student at McGill.
As future doctors, we need to have that hands-on training, especially for the labs next semester. I'm really not sure what they're planning for that yet.
I'm just looking at pouring basically thousands of dollars into this apartment when it's not necessary now for me to be here. And also receiving a level of education via online classes, which traditionally would be less expensive than in-person classes.
Despite such concerns, it looks like online courses will be the reality for most Canadian universities come fall. In British Columbia, UBC and Simon Fraser University unveiled plans to teach large classes online while allowing for small seminar groups or labs to be held in person. Tuition won't be reduced.
These students are receiving top quality education at an internationally recognized and ranked university, and their degrees will reflect that.
Administrators stress they're working hard to improve the quality of online courses students will have in the fall. And that may have to do for Shakil. She's thinking of accepting her offer.
I was thinking about deferring my offer for a year, but just with the way everything's going, I'm not sure if I should take a gap year because I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a job, and it's not like a normal gap year where you could like travel or anything.
At a time of life usually marked by excitement and anxiety, there's now a stress of a different kind. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, turning now to other news, starting in Afghanistan, where 2 deadly attacks have threatened peace talks, one of them targeting the maternity ward of a busy hospital. 2 newborns, women in labor, and nurses were among 16 killed when gunmen stormed the hospital in Kabul. The U.S. called the attack sheer evil. Meanwhile, a separate bombing at the funeral of a police commander killed more than 20 and injured dozens. The Taliban has denied any involvement, but the Afghan president has ordered the resumption of offensive operations against the group and others like it. Donald Trump's financial records were the focus of a historic showdown at the U.S. Supreme Court today. The public was able to listen live as justices heard arguments over the phone due to the pandemic. they seemed divided over the president's bid to prevent Democrats from obtaining his tax returns, but appeared more open towards a New York prosecutor's attempt to secure similar records. Trump has refused to share documents that could shed light on his fortune and the work of his family company. A ruling is expected within weeks. Well, Elon Musk is defying COVID-19 health orders and putting his employees back to work.
Tesla does not get any special privileges that the other businesses don't get.
Up next on The National, why Tesla is breaking the rules.
Plus, understanding contact tracing.
How do you coordinate things like going out for essentials?
How the right questions can limit the spread of the virus.
And where were you when this happened?
Is this the dagger?
Reliving that moment 1 year later in a completely different world. We're back in 2.
Welcome back. Elon Musk has a reputation for doing things his own way, and apparently a global pandemic isn't changing that. His Tesla factory in California is back in business. As Kim Brunhuber tells us, Musk is openly defying local shutdown orders.
At Tesla's plant in Fremont, the parking lot, almost empty for weeks, is now filling up again. Inside, new protocols, plexiglass shields, masks, temperature checks. Still, according to local officials, not safe enough. Not yet. County officials thought they were close to a deal that would see Tesla open next week, but today the plant is already running despite the county's orders.
It's a bit disappointing that it appears that they're going forward. I can tell you that the communication between the health department and the public health officer who makes these decisions are ongoing still.
Since the beginning of the COVID crisis, Tesla founder Elon Musk has railed against business closures, calling them fascist and unconstitutional. California is now allowing some manufacturing to start up again, but here in Alameda County, it's still against the rules. Over the weekend, Tesla sued the county in federal court, arguing the more lenient state rules should supersede the county's. Musk even threatened he'd move the company to another state. Some residents say officials should bend the rules if it means saving 10,000 manufacturing jobs.
I think they should open. I mean, it's a big company. Everybody relies on that.
But some local business owners say Musk thinks his company is above the law.
If everyone close, yeah, for safety, it's okay, fair. But if some open, some close, I don't think that's fair.
We got to make sure that we're fair to everyone. And Tesla does not get any special privileges that the other businesses don't get.
President Trump, anxious to relaunch the U.S. economy, tweeted, California should let Tesla and Elon Musk open the plant now. In the ongoing battle across America over how fast businesses should be allowed to reopen, Tesla's resistance could inspire other companies to do the same. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
And another major international figure has caused debate over his COVID-19 opinions. Canadian rock star Bryan Adams is being accused of making racist and inflammatory statements in a social media post. Katie Nicholson has the reaction.
At first blush, it seemed just like an old hit, posted Monday for the fans. It's the words that went with it that cut some like a knife.
He should publicly acknowledge that he's been racist.
On Instagram, Bryan Adams blamed the cancellation of concerts on bat-eating, wet market animal-selling, virus-making greedy bastards. It unleashed a firestorm on social media and accusations of racism,
I broke down.
especially from the Chinese community.
Dirty Chinese who just eat anything that crawl. All that is consistent with the stereotypical racist portrayal of dirty Chinese.
In a second post today, Adams apologized, saying he only meant to rant about the horrible animal cruelty in these wet markets and promote veganism.
I read Bryan's message and I didn't see the word Asian, I didn't see the word Chinese.
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals was quick to come to the celebrity vegan's defense. The organization wants to shut down wet markets where many live animals are sold as food.
Just because a number of them come from Asia doesn't mean that it's racist to call them out. A celebrity.
Not all vegans agree.
It's not the first time that we've seen famous white vegans make problematic statements.
Beyond the false and unproven theories touted by Adams, this podcaster says the posts signal the star's entitlement.
His main issue in his post was that he couldn't perform a live concert. So that comes from a huge seat of privilege.
Back in Toronto, Amy Go wants more than today's apology.
I think we should also review his Order of Canada.
Beyond today's post, Adams' management did not respond to a request for comment, and the original controversial post is still up. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, an inside look at contact tracing. Are people afraid they're going to get in trouble somehow?
Definitely.
How experts search for clues to prevent the spread of the virus.
But first, we answer your COVID-19 questions, including this one. Why are masks not yet mandatory for everyone? The answer right after the break. Welcome back. We are more than 2 months into the pandemic, and you still have lots of questions. So joining us with her guidance, her expertise, Dr. Taslim Nimji, an ER physician at Toronto's Humber River Hospital. Hello to you. And this first question that we have for you has felt like a bit of a moving target at times. Why are masks not yet mandatory for everyone?
Yeah, Andrew, that one's been confusing, I think, for a lot as we've moved to different responses over the course of this pandemic. And the reality is in the past, when we've looked at the evidence around universal masking, and so this is masking in non-healthcare settings, the data has shown that it's not tremendously useful. So we started from that point. And then as we've sort of progressed and looked at whether or not we move to masking in the public, when we look at the use of cloth masks, we're using different materials. We can't really speak to the filtration of the material of the mask and how useful that is. And then there's also the concern about people who are not using really immaculate hand hygiene and using masks may contaminate themselves when taking on and off of a mask. So the answer is unfortunately not straightforward as to yes, we should and no, we shouldn't. And I think that we wouldn't be right either way or wrong either way. And so that's why you've seen a bit of an evolution there.
Here's another question I hear an awful lot. How do I differentiate between COVID-19 symptoms and seasonal allergies or a cold?
Yeah, so a cold and seasonal allergies are really more upper respiratory symptoms. So that's that runny nose. Maybe you have some itchy, watery eyes if this is allergy. You may have some itching or uncomfortable sort of feeling in your throat if this is a cold, and certainly if this is seasonal allergies. Whereas when you're looking at the COVID-19 infection, you have lower respiratory involvement. So you have shortness of breath, you have severe cough, which you're just not going to see if this is seasonal allergies for sure, or if this is a cold, which is a big difference.
Right, but are the upper respiratory symptoms a bit of a precursor to those kind of chest congestion issues?
So they can be. So the advice that we really say is if you have seasonal allergies, for example, and you get them every year at around this time and you're having the same symptoms, then the likelihood is that that's what it is. And if you reach for your antihistamine and you're feeling better, then that's probably where that can stop. And if you're having symptoms of a cold, certainly you want to exercise all of the precautions that you would to not be able to spread that cold and watch as those symptoms evolve to see if you do develop some of the other symptoms that we would be more concerned about.
Okay. Dr. Nimji, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Now, tomorrow night, this segment will be focusing on your finances. So whether you're a small business owner, you're recently unemployed, or just navigating your rent payments, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So send us your questions on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at thenational@cbc.ca.
Canadians who've had COVID-19 will likely have already heard from a contact tracer at their local public health unit. To many others, this sort of detective work is largely a mystery. So we spent a day with the London Middlesex team here in Ontario to see what it takes to get ahead of the virus.
And we're just going to gently twist side to side.
As they happen now, this is the morning meeting, ahead of a 12-hour shift and a virus to hunt.
We did have 7 new cases. Majority of which were associated with long-term care, either staff or resident.
Infection numbers in London Middlesex are low, but they've learned each positive person can infect 3 others. So the goal is to contact each case within 24 hours of a positive test and find all their contacts.
So when it started, contacts of a case were tremendous. We could have people with 30, 40, 50 contacts. Until we started seeing people self-isolating, those contacts went to 1 or 2.
What happens when businesses open again? This office seems a bit abandoned because some 60-odd workers are making the crucial calls from home. Since they follow every person through their illness, some calls are awful as COVID's grip tightens.
They can hear the shortness of breath and the inability to even talk, and they've had to respond and call 911 for that person to get them to hospital.
That's pretty terrifying.
The 2 days prior to your symptom onset, as well as the 14 days after your symptoms have started. And that's what's been identified as you would be most infectious to others.
Julie Frederick is a public health inspector by trade. Getting to the truth is her specialty.
Sometimes the story changes right over the time, and they develop a sense of trust with the investigator, and more kind of unfold as time goes on.
Because are people afraid they're going to get in trouble somehow?
Definitely. If we've had a situation where an employer has very clearly told someone that you're not to come to work when you're sick, and then they do, it could present challenges for their their employment as well.
Right. So if you find this means being kind and fast, and she's both.
Good afternoon, Julie speaking. How are you? You've been better, I bet.
On the phone, a young man. He's been very careful, but the questions have to come.
Is it a one-bedroom unit, two-bedroom unit? How do you coordinate things like going out for essentials? Kitchen, one open kitchen, I would assume. So it is shared laundry facilities.
That was a key question in a conversation lasting nearly half an hour. Persistent, comforting, not just about tracing, but making sure people get help. We reached out to the man who says he was relieved to hear from the contact tracing team hasn't been out of his apartment in weeks.
There you are.
Hi there, yes.
But he learned recently someone else in the building was infected.
This probably would have been like a washing machine or a dryer or the door to the laundry room kind of thing. But yeah, that would be my theory as to where and when I picked it up.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, this is the first day I've been able to kind of be up and about on my own. There were several days where I couldn't get out of bed. It was
Once Matthew McKay felt ill, he locked everything down.
Only had groceries dropped off, and we made sure we didn't go anywhere because having felt this the way I felt it, I wouldn't want to give it to anyone else. So yeah, I didn't have to rack my brain too hard as to who I'd been in contact with at least. So
Well, there's a relief for you, eh?
yes, yeah.
Another relief that his wife and son tested negative.
Am I hearing right that it's your one-year-old's birthday today?
It is, yes, his birthday's today, so not how we thought we'd be spending it.
Not how anyone thought life would be like now.
So we checked in with Matthew this morning. His cough is still not great. He certainly sounds a lot better. What's more, his wife, his young son are just fine. So because the family's been really careful, along with the monitoring from the tracing team, here's a case of COVID-19 that did not get a chance to spread.
Fascinating work. Still ahead on The National. Canceling a tradition more than a century old. The latest big event to fall to the pandemic, plus the business impact. And we continue our look at the economic toll of COVID-19. Tonight, Newfoundland and Labrador.
My name is Marika Gao. My fiance John and I live in the town of Trinity, Newfoundland. We run my family's business, the Artisan Inn and Twine Loft Restaurant, which my mother started 30 years ago. Trinity is really a tourism town. In the spring through the fall, people come from all over the world to see icebergs, whale watch. So typically right now we would have all of our vacation homes, rooms, and the restaurant operating for the 2020 season, but we don't even have any water hooked up to these places right now. We're actually facing the possibility that we might not be able to open our business or parts of it until 2021. We're processing tens of thousands of dollars of deposit returns, and we need to start making income. People and businesses are really scared right now.
3 months into the COVID-19 crisis, Canada is still counting the cost in lives, in freedoms, and certainly in money. As the slow process of reopening the economy begins, CBC News is exploring the pandemic's toll on hard-hit regions like Alberta and Newfoundland and Labrador. Last night, we looked at Canada's struggling oil patch and airline industry. And tonight, we head east, where COVID-19 has cut off crucial dollars that normally come from away. Newfoundlanders have had their share of economic ups and downs, from fishing to mining to oil production. But tourism always seemed relatively immune, at least until COVID-19. Chris O'Neill-Yates shows us how the industry is holding up.
This is an unusual sight in May. No lineups. The tourists won't be here this year to marvel at the icebergs on their annual migration. But Loyola and Joe O'Brien have weathered hard times before, like when the cod fishery collapsed in 1992.
I remember the last day fishing at Cape St. Mary's. Our father had said, if Loyola, if Cape St. Mary's fails, get out. And that was when I said, you're going to have to do something different.
With a bird sanctuary on their doorstep, they made the jump from the fishing boat to the tour boat.
Most people said, you're going, what? Quitting fishing and showing people puffins? You've lost it, O'Brien.
Birds, then whales and icebergs have become a huge draw. There are now dozens of operations like this one all over the province. Tourism draws 500,000 visitors here every year, employing 20,000 people. Tourists spend over $1 billion a year. But with the provincial borders closed to COVID-19, the money that the tourists would ordinarily bring leaves a huge hole, says Joe O'Brien.
The young people who depended on the restaurant jobs in the summertime, the tour guiding jobs in our company, working in the service sector, these are the ones that are going to be mostly impacted.
Some tourist operations may not survive this crisis, but the O'Briens are determined to see the other side of this.
We're going to have to let the world know that we're going to be open when we're allowed to maneuver around and deal with our 6-foot margin. You can't depend on governments to make decisions that are going to keep you here. You got to make the decisions for yourself.
And unlike the cod, the whales and the icebergs will return. Chris O'Neill-Yates, CBC News, Bay Bulls, Newfoundland.
And for more on COVID-19 and the economy, join CBC News for a live, commercial-free virtual town hall tomorrow, including input from the federal government. Finance Minister Bill Morneau will join Rosemary Barton and Duncan McHugh for Living with COVID, Your Job, Your Money, Your Future. That's Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on CBC News Network and CBC Gem. And hey, CBC Radio 1 listeners, you can check your local listings for air times. Plus, if you've got questions you'd like answered, send them to covid@cbc.ca.
And the economic impacts don't stop there. The pandemic is continuing to force the cancellation of big events. When we come back, what losing the X means for jobs and businesses.
I'm Pia Chattopadhyay. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, a wide-ranging conversation about anti-East Asian intolerance in light of Bryan Adams' controversial comments. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
COVID-19's relentless assault on popular public events shows no signs of letting up. More cancellations, big and small. From PEI's Summerside Lobster Carnival to Britain's huge Reading Music Festival to Broadway, every theater on Broadway will remain closed until at least September. Also scrapped today, Toronto's Labor Day Air Show, itself a signature part of a much bigger and older celebration that has fallen to COVID-19. The Canadian National Exhibition, affectionately known to locals as the X, has been axed. And as Shauna Reid explains, this one hurts.
There's the food, the rides, the history. Any given summer, the CNE will attract 1.4 million visitors. But this year, none.
These are historic times, and this a historic decision.
The CNE has only shut down once before in its 142-year history, during the Second World War for recruitment and training. The board says it was a hard call.
Obviously, safety's the main concern. And so we work very closely with Toronto Public Health and the health authorities in general.
It's a tough blow. The CNE provides 5,000 jobs and brings in about $130 million.
It's a significant economic impact, a significant loss, and significant challenge.
Both Toronto's mayor and Ontario's premier expressed disappointment.
I'm going to miss it.
It is just one more tragic loss on the economic side that is as a result of this pandemic.
For operators and vendors like Justin Butler, who makes ice cream treats, it's a real bummer.
It's a significant influx of revenue for our business in that period. It's really a great thing to be a part of.
The CNE hopes to return next year.
The CNE is so close to people's hearts that there is no possibility that there won't be a revival and a strong one in 2021.
Shauna Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
CBC News is committed to telling the stories of Canadians lost to COVID-19. It's a series we're calling Lives Remembered. Tonight, Sean Auger is remembered by his wife, Jennifer.
My name is Jennifer Auger, and my husband Sean passed away from COVID-19. He was 34 years old, and my high school sweetheart. Sean and I met in grade 8, and we've been friends. We were friends ever since then. In grade 12, we finally became an item, at which point we got pregnant. We had our son at 17 years old, and he knew what he had to do, providing for us and going to school and getting his career working in the child and youth care field. He loved that. He loved that, and I think being a young father really propelled him to want to work with youth. He accomplished a lot. He was a hockey coach. He volunteered with the minor hockey board. He worked his way up in the child and youth care field, and he was a really great guy. He made so many friends wherever he went, and he wanted to be a part of that. His magnetism, he was magnetic, and he really brought you into his world, and you became a part of it. And once a part of his world, you knew you belonged somewhere. He's a fantastic guy.
We're trying to tell as many of those stories as we can. If you'd like to share one with us, memories of a loved one you've lost, please reach out to us at covid@cbc.ca. We'll be right back.
Saturday on Movie Night in Canada.
Everyone's got issues with their past.
Tatiana Maslany stars in
There's blizzard coming. We're not going back.
Two Lovers and a Bear, Saturday at 9 on CBC. CBC Listen. Hear it all here. Download today.
Is this the dagger?
Remember that? Does it not seem like a lifetime ago? But it was just 1 year ago when Kawhi Leonard made that shot. So that's a moment that for some fans is as fresh today as it was then, and perhaps all the more cherished given there's no live sports to capture anyone's attention right now. Their memories form tonight's moment.
Off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
I've watched it again today so many times. And watching it every time, you're like, because the second you walked in the building that night, it was electric. We had awesome seats the whole game, and it was like a nail biter till the end. There was like, hugging in the streets, and it was just really cool. Just being there, it felt just like such a part of history. It just feels awesome to have that memory.
Wow. Working at a pub, I was waiting tables packed to the brim with people. We had as many people as we could fit out of the kitchen. Everywhere was just stopped and eyes glued to the TV. Every time I see the shot, no matter how many times we're there, I always still get the goosebumps. You don't know what the new normal is going to be. Being able to live it last year when we still had the opportunity to be with so many strangers who are connected by sport, I think just like makes it that much more special.
It was such a great night. It was pure, it was beautiful, it was kind of obviously unexpected. But what Zach says, one of the things that is so hard now about this infuriating absurdity that is all of our lives is that he is so sure the Raptors were going to do really well this year, and I don't think he's wrong.
But I think you hit it right on the head. The unexpected nature of it, right? It was just this uncertain thing, and I get as much joy watching that moment as I get watching the reactions of the professionals in that moment, the players, the announcers. It was really something special. That's the National for this May 12th. Have a good night.
Good night.